welcome to this morning's morning news on 30th of July 2024. I'm your host Scott Young, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jack. Jack, how you doing on this fine morning?
I'm good, mate. Thanks. Good to see yourself. A different host. It's like an away game.
I have not hosted in a while, so bear with us on this one. But I actually woke up to some, in my opinion, some great news this morning that I didn't expect to see. Waking up, let's check my phone, and that's that Connor Goldson has officially joined RS Limassol. Jack, so before we go into the sort of details of the deal, what are your other thoughts on sort of Golson's Rangers career, despite the fact that he's sort of been one of the four that have been heavily criticised by the fan base over the last 2-3 years?
Well, I think, in my opinion, he's been at for $3.5 million 6 years ago to play most of the time. I'd say about 99% of the time he's been fit. He's had one or two times that have let us down. But I think the value we've had for that level of player has been really good. I think he's maybe ran his race and we could have sold him a couple of years ago, 3 years ago maybe, and get really good money. But that's not his fault. The club, that's on the club. Personally, I actually thought he started a good level until about a year ago, and then I noticed this season, when about Christmas time, he was slowing down. But I don't know if that was us running him into the ground and playing him more than he should have, which I didn't see the point in bringing Balogun back, not to use with three defenders more, because Goldson seemed to start every game. Then when about March, when the team was falling away, one of the reasons was certain players at certain ages had been run into the ground, and he's the one that cops it. Unfortunately, with an element of Rangers support, you're going to have the ones that get the blame, and he was kind of attached to it. And the way it was going, it wasn't really a good environment for him to be in anymore if he wasn't going to come back fully fit. So if we've got a decent offer and they're going to cover his wages for a couple of years, which might, if he wasn't at the level we needed him to be when they've been good for us, probably the right time to move on. But I liked him, and I would have preferred to have sold him with his replacement already in the building, because we're only 2 days away from submitting a European squad.
Yeah, I'll get into the replacement in a second, but I want to I know what I said at the start, but Goldson, I think it is time to go. But what I will say is I felt bad for Goldson because he's been here 6 years, and I can only think of one good centre-half partner he had. If you run through the partners he had, Katic, I never rated Katic, I'm honest. He was good in the air, but positionally, everything else, he wasn't very good. Joe Worrell, the same, really. Edmondson wasn't at the level. Hollander's the only good one, but Hollander, again, was never fit. Bassey was better as left back. Balogun, I like Balogun to be fair, but again, he was too rash at some points, Balogun. So that's 7 partners. I'm probably missing someone that Goldson's been with at the back, and only one of them has really been a standout, and that was Big Phil Hollander. In the season that Hollander was fully fit, won the league. I don't see that as a coincidence. So I have felt bad for Goldson with partners, but it is the right time to go because he was bad last season. Let's not beat around the bush. He was bad for a lot of points last season. And even the Ajax game a few weeks ago, he was pretty bad again. So I think it is a time to go. I don't know what the fee is. So I think there's some rumours. I've read some rumour, but I don't want to get into it. I'm not sure what the fee is. But any fee, and he's probably a top earner. Again, that off the wage book, it can only be a good thing. You sort of touched on the replacement. There's been a few names linked. Scott McKenna is one name that isn't going away. Is Scott McKenna someone you'd like to see at centre-half next season?
Yeah, at the moment, Scott McKenna, in my opinion, would walk into our first team. Now, I don't know if that's a long-term replacement, but being a free transfer, being Scottish, knows the place. I've been led to believe he's not exactly a Rangers lover, but I don't really know if we're in a position to be getting into that now because we just need to get somebody in. We just need to get somebody in. But I was more led to believe that when he was at Aberdeen going down south, when Rangers were linked with him a wee bit years ago before the money got out of control for what we would pay. I can't really think anybody affordable in the market. Now, this is what the scouting's for, because they should be looking abroad and stuff like that. But I can't really think off the top of my head, apart from McKenna, who you could do a deal quickly and walk into the team.
He's 27. I thought he was older than that. He's only 27, so he's still got a good few years in him, Scott McKenna. He's definitely someone I would look into definitely buying, because we need more homegrown players. We've seen John Fleck train this week, who they touched on the news earlier. He's another one. But like Scott Wright's still here because he ticks a box. For example, like we need good quality Scottish players who can help the team and not just random Scottish people who can help tick a box. And Scott McKenna fits into that mould of being Scottish, good, experienced, knows the league, played 100 games with Aberdeen. So to me, Scott McKenna's a no-brainer. I think moving on from that transfer news, well, kind of moving on from transfer news, John Bennett done an interview yesterday.
Aye.
Facial reaction says it all. Before we get into sort of the main points, I just kind of want to get your overall review of the interview and what did you think of how he came across, what he said, before we could delve into like your stadium and transfer and stuff, which people are waiting to hear our opinions on.
Well, I was working at the point it came out yesterday, so I was driving a taxi. Around about 10 to 6 it came out, but I'm ready to listen to the scoreboard. It's the first 2 hour show. So the first Clyde one, now I don't particularly listen to it, but it does tell you what's happening. But Vats came out at the same time. I'm a wee bit busy in work with our interview, and I only got to it when I heard him saying the words end of September. I had to turn it off because I thought I was going to get angrier. And I'll be honest, I've no listened to any more of what he said, but I've heard enough in group chats, follow, word of mouth since. I heard about 11.5 million and end of September, and I thought, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm just going to get angry.
Yeah, right, let's delve into that. The stadium. The way I got it, I listened to the interview last night. The way I got it from him was he seemed very apologetic about the stadium. But in the same way, I think the full thing has been a complete mess. Like, we should have ordered the materials months ago because we knew this was happening. We knew the disabled, they told us in March the Copeland disabled section was getting fixed. So they should have ordered the materials in March before we started any work. So it says 20th of September. That's the aspiration to be that first game back. Is that let's go through that. What do you think of that, first of all?
Well, we all aspire for things and we all want to reach the top. So when he's saying it and he's aspiring to be back again, that's him being ambitious. And that buys him another month, in my opinion. I really think, now I get he's been apologetic and all that, but he should be with the amount of money people are spending, how inconvenienced they're being. Now, I don't care if it's only 3 miles away and it's the same size of stadium. It's nowhere near as good as your stadium. I get people want to see Rangers, but they also want to see it at Ibrox, where it's a lot more enjoyable, a lot easier to get to, a lot more accessible. And I know somebody will say there's 4 train stations near Hampden. I have went to a train station once at Hampden. I'm never doing it again. How long it takes to get in and out of one. You're better walking in the city. Hampden's is a shambles of a place. Being a taxi driver is myself as well. I picked up for a concert a few weeks ago at Bernsey, trying to get to the place. It's just an absolute mess. So that's great. He's been apologetic. He should be doing a lot more than that because he's really made a right mess of this and he's inconvenienced a lot of people as well.
Yeah, just looking at the fixtures here. We play Hibs on the 28th of September. That's the game he was talking about he wants to be back for. And then we get St Johnstone at home the week after. So whether it's one of those 2 games, I expect that's where he is saying he expects us to be back at Ibrox. But again, I don't know. I've heard rumours. I keep hearing rumours about Christmas is when we'll be back. But the more I think about whenever I hear Christmas, like, nah, surely no. But the more I think about it, the more I think, yeah, Christmas seems more realistic because of the way I'm just used to Rangers making an arse of things all the time.
You're right there. And this might be a reason, I looked a bit deeper into it. I wonder if he's saying we hope to be back at Ibrox for the Hibs game because we know what happens when we play Hibs at Hampden. We've lost 3 in a row and a couple of times have been very nice for the fans. I wonder if that's the police maybe don't want us to play Hibs at Hampden. I know it might sound a bit far-fetched, but the more you look into it, they'll not want that after what's happened before. am I not right in saying that Scotland, once it hits September, October, are going to have to use that for their own games and would be wanting the pitch in their own condition, or are they going to use another? Because that wouldn't make sense to me if Scotland are going to use that for games, if Rangers have been playing European games on it once a week and cup games.
Well, I mean, they used it when Queen's Park played on it every week. So honestly, there's not much of a difference.
Aye, but we'd be playing European games as well, maybe. Like, so it could be 2 games a week, if you get my point.
Aye, maybe. I think with the Hibs point, it's an interest when you bring it up, but the big difference that is, Hibs will probably have 900 fans at Hampden because it is a Rangers home game rather than Scottish Cup Final 2016, which is the one you're alluding to. It's a 50-50 stadium.
Aye,
so I think there's a bit of a difference there.
I think it's also the fact we've got a terrible record. The last time we've played them at Hampden 3 times have beat us. So I was kind of hoping we weren't having to play them home again for that sake.
So, whether we'll be back there in September, John Bennett says we will, but I'm not sure I want to believe a single word that man says. He talks about transfer business, and he says Clement's all aligned, and the club need to get away from changing managers every window. I think that's caught. I think reading between the lines with that one, he's seen Twitter. He's seen some people say Clement out. Well, I think they're people stupid, but that's personal opinion. He's seen some people say, "Oh, Clement's not a style play, whatever else, etc., etc." What do you think of what he's saying about Clement? Because Clement came out in an interview saying he was very frustrated in the fact that we need to sell before we buy, and I think he's just trying to sort of fix what Clement said. If you get what I mean. So, what are your thoughts on Clement first of all, and what Bennett said regarding about him? Basically saying Clement's job is safe until the summer, next summer, unless he either leaves, which to be fair, I wouldn't blame him, or it becomes untenable like it did with Beale this October last year.
I don't think. I think Clement's a really good manager. I'm a wee bit surprised that I'm going to say went no left, but he's no made more sounds about how, because he's already said he's frustrated. I thought when that came out a couple of Saturdays ago, there'd be more came for that. The point that people are making about they're not impressed with the fit body shape. Well, we don't even know who the squad is at the moment. We don't know the playing side yet. All our injuries last season. It was quite hard, apart from his first couple of months, to have a fully fit team and playing the way he wants. And it still wasn't the team he wanted because we didn't spend a lot of money in January. If, unfortunately, it's a results-driven business, even if it's no Clement's fault and it's on the board for no spending, the way it goes, if the results aren't great, the manager would go. I'd be disappointed in that because I think he's a good manager. But I'm a bit surprised that he's made more sounds about how unhappy he is, because I would be. And unfortunately, see maybe decent clubs, maybe at the lower end of the Premiership or something, if they were looking for a manager, I don't think he'd be the one. I think he's one he could be looking for. And there was also a rumour about the Belgium job. I don't know if any truth came of that, but I wouldn't blame him for going.
Yeah, the Belgium job is one that isn't really going away. Belgium have got a shocking record of managers. You had Bobby Martinez, who I've never rated. You had Tedesco, who we beat. I'm pretty sure Tedesco was a Leipzig manager when we beat them. So, and then they want, obviously, I'm not sure. I don't know if it was confirmed that Tedesco's left, but it's been sort of been said with it being official that Tedesco was away from Belgium. And Clement, whose name was linked with it before Tedesco got the job. So I wouldn't be surprised if his name came to the forefront again. But Clement seems to me like the kind of guy who doesn't quit. He doesn't leave. He wouldn't want to leave a project halfway through it. But I also think he's the kind of guy who get frustrated enough that I wouldn't blame him if he left, because I'd get annoyed if I was him at the shambles that's been left to him. You could list the names: Michael Beale, maybe even go back to Gio, the style of playing, maybe some of the recruitment, Ross Wilson, Stuart Robertson, Bisgrove, Bennett. The people around and before Clement have left a shambles for him to work with. And I think he's done the best he can with the playing squad and the whole shambles about the club. So I wouldn't be surprised if Clement left, but I also don't see him being the kind of guy who walks out on a project.
I wonder if it's one of the ones where he might not want to walk, he might enjoy the project, he might enjoy the challenge, but when you've got two hands behind your back, nobody wants to work with that. So if he was to get offered something else where that's a bit, it's easier and he's not got any constraints and he's not got a board to deal with, as you said, that are shambles, he would probably look into that. And we're not doing anything really like the board aren't doing anything, in my opinion, to make him want to stay. You know what I mean? If anything, it would be the opposite.
One thing that I've actually sort of forgot about in terms of the whole surrounding of the club is obviously Bisgrove left, and the news on a CEO will be very soon. But he did also mention that the whole thing with the stadium has sort of pushed the CEO to the back of his mind almost. And he wants to fix Ibrox and B, get somewhere like, well, obviously it's Hampden now, get somewhere to play home games. CEO is a big thing that you sort of push to the wayside. I don't know if that's the best thing for a chairman to do, is push your sort of right-hand man role to the side in order to fix what's in front of you. I don't know what you think about that, but I think pushing the CEO to the side, he said it'll be very soon as well, to be fair to him. But I'm not sure how I feel about him not appointing one because of Hampden. Surely when you're a chairman of a big club and a big business, you should be juggling many things at the one time.
Definitely, aye. I don't understand why he doesn't want a CEO or a big teams or teams that want to behave like big teams. Teams with ambition have got CEOs. I thought that was just the kind of thing that happened now. I would have thought, I don't even think it's getting to David Stadium. Surely you still want one for the playing side and for the manager. Is this trying to tell us that, I get Ibrox getting back into that's a priority, but is it a much bigger priority than success this season? Is that what he's quietly trying to tell us? Like without saying, look, we need to get into the ground and get the stadium sorted, because if we've not got the Ibrox money coming in, then we've not got anything coming in while we're paying a rent for Hampden.
Yeah, I was quite confused when I heard him say that. But moving on to the one thing that everyone wants to speak about is transfers. And he said the club need to reduce operating costs. And to put that in, to translate that from business to normal speak, we've been wasting too much money on a lot of things. Crap players on big wages, I could list as long as your arm. One of them left this morning. Big transfer fees, big contracts to managers because you had to pay off Michael Beale a good bit. Pressured Gio had to get paid off a good bit. So wasting too much money by giving crap, by giving people who are crap at their job too much money. So I think this summer, he did mention this summer is about sort of reverting back to, the phrase he kept mentioning was player trading model. He said that about 50 million times in that entire interview. What's your thoughts on how the board have handled this window? I know we could do 14 podcasts on it. We have done 14 podcasts on it. But he did say that they're still trying to fix the mess that was left behind them. But when Bennett was chairman of that mess. So he's trying to fix a mess that he created.
Well, you're saying there that one's left this morning, but I'll be fair to Goldson, when he came in as a player, he was a good player for us, and then once he'd run his course, he's left. So he's not really done it to us for 2 or 3 years. Like you start to see like a Matondo or a Ben Davis, who have never really reached a level and it costs us a lot of money and are still costing us a lot of money every week. That window with Gio was it we brought in Davis, Matondo and Yilmaz. Yilmaz is now starting to play, but that was a lot of money we spent that window. Sorry saying Yilmaz is a player now. We didn't need him at that point, and that was a £6 million player. So that set us back that window, and we're still paying for that window because only Yilmaz out of A3 is really going to be a first-team contributor next season, because I don't see Matondo playing if there's better players. Ben Davis certainly isn't going to play. That's the kind of constraints anybody is up against, like a manager or chief executive 2 years ago, buying players no good enough and no good enough to even sell on because nobody will want them. We've brought in, we've got rid of Lammers, but there's players that Beale brought in like Cifuentes and Danilo, who I know he's come back for injury, but I've not seen it in Danilo yet to say he was worth $6 million, or if we would decide to sell him, I think we're getting anywhere near that. So the scouting, the recruitment has really been a shambles. Even somebody like John Soot on a free. Now, that makes sense because he's Scottish, whatever, but he's never nailed a jersey down. John Soot will be a Rangers player till his contract runs out because nobody else is going to give him the money he's on at Rangers.
No, you could go through the entire squad. I think I've said the only 2 players that I'd be gutted if they left were Butland and Sterling. Anyone else is up for sale for me. Like, this whole squad's a mess. And this, sort of moving on from Bennett, because we could do another, as I said, we could do 14 podcasts on what he said. The Jordan news. Obviously, it came out that we had a bid accepted, but he didn't want to join. That was sort of the rumour and reports that came out the other day. Some came out last night about a Spanish outlet it's based in Sevilla and are very close to Sevilla. Outlet ABC. They released a report last night that claims Jordan the player knows nothing about a Rangers bid, and that the player's entourage has not turned the club down. So if I'm completely honest, I'm baffled when I saw this morning. When it gets sent over to me this morning, I'm baffled at this. It's just another case of a Rangers transfer window, isn't it?
Well, yesterday we spoke about it and I said, I'm not sure if I want to move, but maybe he doesn't want to come here. I had no information this yesterday. It now sounds like the guy had no idea what's going on, and are we just plucking a name to the Scottish media to make it look like we're making a move for an ambitious kind of player? A guy would look like, well, that's an ambitious move, because it now looks like the guy has no idea about us or our interest, and it was probably one of the ones like, well, if we say that, it makes it look good to the fans. It doesn't look good at all. You know what I mean? And then it's not like the guy doesn't want to be here. He doesn't even want to know it. He doesn't even know anything about it, but it sounds it now.
Yeah, it's a few one. We'll keep an eye on this one, because hopefully more will come out it, because we do need another midfielder. I cannot go a 4-2-3-1 this season. I want a 4-3-3 where Barron, Diamande and someone else as your midfielder. Whether that's Jordan, maybe John Fleck, whoever it is. I want a 6 and 2 8s as my midfield this season. And then your creativity come for your wings rather than a number 10. Because all the number 10s aren't good enough. Cantwell will train with the B team. Lawrence, done it in pre-season, but you can't trust Tom Lawrence to A, stay fit, and B, be consistent with his form. Hadji's probably away. And Lowry, I actually really like Alex Lowry, but you can't trust him to be a star. He can't be a star. He'd be a good squad player. He's looked alright pre-season, Alex Lowry, but he's not. You can't start him 50 games a season, especially considering he's not had a full season, first team football, whatever. 6 months at Hearts where he was okay, but he came back to us when he was injured. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the Jordan news. Maybe I'm baffled when I saw this morning. That wraps us up for this morning's morning news. Jack, cheers for joining us.
Thanks very much for having us, Scott. Cheers for that.
Nah, no worries, mate. We'll catch you tomorrow.